Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Sports Talk with Kris P. This is the YouTube channel I plan to use primarily to talk about NBA news and things going on in the NBA and also the NFL. Um, but I think primarily NBA. And the topic of today's video, I thought a good start would be to talk about an award race coming up this season that I think is going to be very exciting, and that is the race for Most Improved Player. This is an award that went to Pascal Siakam this year with D'Angelo Russell in close contention. Siakam kind of came from a low point to a really high point as a second option on the championship winning team, and D'Angelo Russell went from an okay starting point guard to a good one that led his team to the playoffs. And it went to Siakam as he made a really big jump and helped. The postseason isn't supposed to be a part of the award decision, but Siakam helped the Raptors win the championship, and his season is indicative of his success this year as well, not just his playoff success. This year, I have five big candidates going into the season, all five of which I think have a legitimate case to win the 2020 Most Improved Player. So I'm going to start out just by listing them, then I'll go into my thoughts on each one. I'll make the case for each one, and at the end, I'll kind of reveal what I think about each of the options. So, my five candidates are Caris LeVert of the Brooklyn Nets, OG Anunoby of the Toronto Raptors, Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics, Terry Rozier of the Charlotte Hornets, and Dennis Smith Jr. of my favorite team, the New York Knicks. Um, to start out with Caris LeVert in the Crosstown Nets, D'Angelo Russell, it's kind of not arguable that Kyrie Irving is an upgrade, even though they gave up some bench depth. But of course, they will be getting Kevin Durant when he's back from his injury, as they signed both him and Kyrie to near maximum deals, and DeAndre Jordan as well to a smaller but still 4-year deal that Irving and Durant took a pay cut to help out with. Um, Caris LeVert, man, he's someone who had a great season last year. He went out there, played his heart out, and had his season interrupted by a gruesome injury. Really did not look great. I was upset the night it happened. I don't like the Nets, but I liked Caris LeVert. Really, really energetic young player, dynamic scoring guard. I would love to see him pick up really, really, not that he's a liability, but I'd like to see him really pick up on the defensive end. He did average over a steal a game last year, which isn't a bad start. But if he can become a real two-way scoring and defending wing, there's a real spot for him as a star in this league. And I think that, last season, guy averaged about 14 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and like I said, over a steal. And he did this on 43% shooting. Hey, that's pretty impressive. That's a good start. If he comes back, has a full year where he's healthy, playing alongside Kyrie Irving and Spencer Dinwiddie, and DeAndre Jordan and Jared Allen and all these pieces they have, like Joe Harris as well, I think Caris LeVert could up that scoring production to around 20 points a game and really make a name for himself as a real legitimate scoring option, second scoring option maybe if Dinwiddie is third. I think LeVert can be second. A second scoring option on a playoff team. He came from a season where he was injured for a good amount of it and put up, good numbers in the beginning and not as good numbers at the end. But no one was expecting him to be better or return to his original form. I really think that this is a guy that has a real case to win the Most Improved Player award, and if he did, even though he's on the Nets and I'm a big Knicks guy, I would be proud of him. I'd be excited for him. For him though, not the team. My second candidate, OG Anunoby of the Toronto Raptors, another Atlantic Division team. OG is a guy who had a season last year where, on 45% shooting, which is not bad, he had 7 points, 3 rebounds, less than an assist, and less than a steal. These numbers are not stellar. These are not, these are not young star numbers. These are young player uh, with immense amounts of potential stats. I think Kawhi Leonard's departure to the Los Angeles Clippers leaves a lot of touches open for the offense that will go to Siakam mostly, and Gasol and Lowry will get a bit, And I think the rest get funneled kind of into OG Anunoby in that starting lineup. He should be in that starting small forward spot. I think this kid can really up his game this year with some development this offseason, which it's very safe to assume he's doing. That's what young players are doing. They're all in the gym nowadays. I love seeing the videos, Instagram. Not just I don't just like the hoodie mellow videos. And when the Knicks put out those workout tapes, gets me excited for that upcoming season. And man, if OG can step up that offensive game, even follow Kawhi's mold a bit, and just stay good on defense, stay solid, that right there is a most improved player candidate. Because if he can get the Raptors, say the Raptors do really well and he's a big factor in it, maybe he has 17 points a game, something like that, a 10 point bump, and the Raptors maybe get the third seed in the East. Hey, that's a guy who contributed and who came from not so great numbers, which people know maybe was because he was behind Kawhi Leonard, but there were opportunities for him off the bench. He also spent some of last year injured. Didn't really help him. So I think OG is a guy who can come out and contribute. My third candidate is Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics. Now last year he had a not as great year as he did, or not as great stats as he did, in the 2018 playoffs. And another one of my candidates, Terry Rozier, had a big bump in stats in those playoffs as well with Kyrie Irving's injury. Jason Tatum had 16 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal last year on 45% shooting. Not to mention 37% from downtown, which is a good number. This is a kid who can come out next season alongside Kemba Walker. They can be the two stars of the offense with Al Horford's touches being vacated, with Kyrie Irving being replaced by Kemba Walker, someone who people think is a more team-friendly, a more Brad Stevens-friendly kind of point guard to lead your offense. Jason Tatum is your scoring forward. He's your second scoring option behind Kemba. Kemba's the playmaker. Tatum's his first scoring option as a playmaker. Tatum's a guy who can see a big bump in stats next year. If the Celtics can do well, I assume Milwaukee and Philadelphia will hold those top 2 spots in the East. But the Raptors and Celtics, I think, are the guys, and the Pacers too. There's your top 5 in the East. But Pacers, Raptors, or Celtics, either of those 3 teams could get that third seed. And if OG plays really well, maybe the Raptors get it. If Tatum really ups his game, maybe the Celtics get it. I wouldn't be surprised, now that I've listed OG and Tatum, if this year's most improved player is a scoring option on the third seed in the Eastern Conference. Only because it happened to work out that way for my predictions. I can see that. I can see either of these guys winning, and LeVert as well. Hey, the Nets could be the third seed as well. There's LeVert as your scoring option in the East on the third seed. This next team, though, Terry Rozier's Charlotte Hornets, they're not in contention for the third seed. They're not in contention for the 8th seed. They're not in contention for the 12th seed. These are the guys we kind of know are finishing 14th or 15th. Cleveland has Kevin Love. The Knicks, I think, are going to be better. I think the Hornets, I think this is our 15th seed in the East. Maybe the worst record in the league. Probably the worst record in the league. Terry Rozier is a guy who's going to go out and benefit from putting up good stats on a bad team. Now, good stats on a bad team is a concept that I don't know how I feel about, mostly because of how it comes up in the Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker debate. I think Mitchell's the better player. People say Booker is not that good at all and that he just puts up good stats on a bad team. Now, I think Terry Rozier, what we're going to see from him this season, last year, 9 points a game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and about a steal on less than 40% shooting is not great. I think those numbers really, really go up, but they don't translate to many wins, like Devin Booker's Phoenix Suns. I do think Booker is the much more talented player than Rozier. I think Mitchell is slightly more talented than Booker. This is a topic, honestly, my Twitter, I'm going to put my Twitter in the description. Comments are open. Twitter and comments, you can let me know your thoughts on my 5 candidates or who you think will win. But this is another debate I want to hear from you guys about who is the better player, Devin Booker or Donovan Mitchell. Let me know in the comments. All right. Terry Rozier, someone who in the 2018 playoffs had almost 17 points a game, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, almost a steal and a half, and did it on a better 41% shooting. I think he can do even better than those numbers, considering that he'll be leading this offense for the entire year. Maybe he hits 19 points a game, not 16.5. I think Rozier is someone who's going to come out and lead a bad team, and he's going to lead them in definitely in points per game. But I think he can also, he will lead them on the floor. I think he might be a guy who can also lead the most improved player race if he really, really has a good season. However, I do see the NBA favoring team success, and say someone like Tatum, LeVert, Anunoby, one of those guys is on a really good team, and they had a big jump, they're probably more likely to win it than Rozier. My final candidate from my New York Knicks is Dennis Smith Jr. This is a guy who's about to come out into his third season, has said to everyone that he is having a breakout year this year. And he's a guy who on the Knicks last year put up 15 points a game, 3 rebounds, 5.5 assists, almost a steal and a half on 41.3% shooting. These are not abysmal numbers. That is a good start. If he follows through on his promise to break out, the Knicks' depth works out for them, and the Knicks can push to that 8th seed in the Eastern Conference, even ninth. Even if they don't make the playoffs, but they get that 9th seed, they were right there. Dennis Smith Jr. is a guy who I can see having a lot of that success attributed to. I think if the Knicks have a lot of success this year, he will be in the most improved player race for sure, because he's kind of my X factor for the Knicks this year. It's not RJ, it's not Knox, it's not Randall. We know what we're expecting from Randall. We know what we're expecting from RJ, or what we'd hope to have from him. We know we probably won't get what we hope to have, but we know what we're expecting and what we hope. And Knox, we know, will improve, maybe not that much, maybe a good amount, but not at a most improved player rate. But if the New York Knicks go from having 17 wins to, say, the most I think they'll get this year is 36. Say they hit 33. Say the Knicks go from 17 to 33 wins. Now they've almost doubled their win total. Someone on that team made a jump and is going to be in contention for most improved. I think the guy is Dennis Smith Jr. Out of these 5 guys, I think these are all legitimate candidates. If I had to put money on one of them and the odds were kind of accurate to their actual odds of winning, I'd probably bet on OG Anunoby, probably just because that's a bet that if it pays off would probably pay pretty good odds. The safest bet out of these 5 candidates is probably Tatum. Just expect him to get closer to that All-NBA level that we know he's going to get to. As for, wrapping up this episode, comment below your thoughts on these 5 candidates. Tell me who you think is going to win. Tell me who you think I left off. Tell me who you think is better between Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell. That is a debate that I want to hear from you guys about. So thank you for listening to episode 1 of Sports Talk with Kris P. And I look forward to potentially hearing from you guys and moving forward and recording more episodes. This is really fun for me. Can't wait to do it some more. Thank you.